Welcome to the first and inevitably last installment of How to Lose Your Brakes in 10 Days. Let's get to it. How's it going, guys? It's the Peruvian trucker back with another video. And that intro was a joke. That didn't happen. I had to get it out of my system. I was thinking about that constantly, though, while I was training. I have so many clips. Like, my dash cam is not an ornament. Like, it caught so much of what was going on with this person that resided in my truck for a couple days. And I wish I could share every single clip to rest my case. But I am not going to do that, because while I enjoy making videos and I know that by having a YouTube channel, I give up some privacies and open myself to criticism, put myself out there, etc., etc. This person that I tried to train, has a right to privacy. They did not agree to any of that. So I'm only going to share the one clip that I believe encapsulates how I felt near the end. But I'm going to provide some context. On the last video, I was in the Pittston terminal waiting for my TNT classes. I had to take two classes. I had to take the safety class, which I took on Monday, and then I took the actual TNT class on Tuesday. It's actually a 3-day course for TNT and PSD, but if you're only doing TNT, you only need to do the first day. Basically, a refresher on how TNT works, how training in general works, and then an inspection of your truck to make sure that it's acceptable for someone else to live in it, to share it. I completed that, and there was no students available, so I took a load out of Pittston going to Maine. I picked up about 30 miles south of Pittston, delivering at a Walmart distribution center in Maine. And then I picked up a load in northern Maine at a McCain facility going to Rochelle, Illinois. And while I was on that load, as I was heading to Illinois after I picked up in Maine, I got a message from my fleet manager asking me if I could take a student, if I could swing by Pittston and pick someone up to train. He sent me the information. I called this person, and I had a couple questions that I wrote down while I was at home to kind of feel a person out and get an assessment on if it was going to work out or not. I contacted this person. They provided me with some information on what their situation was. Basically, they had completed 39,000 miles with another trainer, and there was an issue with that other trainer. They stepped out of their truck, and they just needed basically 11,000 miles to be done. And I was potentially going to be the person to take them to that goal. So we had a good conversation. It seemed that it was going to work out. I went to the Pittston terminal met with this person, talked a little bit more, and the next day we set off to continue the load that I was on, a solo load, drop and hook in both ends. Again, picked up in McCain in Maine, delivering in Rochelle, Illinois. So over the next couple of days, 2 days really, Saturday and Sunday, I started my shifts. Well, I started by sitting in the passenger seat and assessing how this person drove the truck. We were leaving the Pittston terminal, heading west on 80, perfect to see how they handle the mountains. The first thing I noticed is that their stab brake technique was really good. Their Jake brake use was not. And I was taking every opportunity that I could, every downhill, to remind them to use their Jake brake. There's 3 stages. Start with the lower one. I mean, the lower one in the stock, so like the more aggressive one if you can, and work your way up as you maintain control of the truck. And again, I have a lot of clips, and there's a lot of little things that happen between, picking this person up and dropping them off. I'm just gonna give you the highlights. This person was on the phone the entire time. Let me take that back. This person was on the phone the entire time except when they were sleeping. And I gotta be honest, I mentioned in the last video that I have some vulnerability when it comes to interacting with other people, and that's the fact that, I'm an introverted person. I'm not looking for conflict. And if you add the fact that this trainee had an issue with their previous trainer, I was trying to be as accommodating as I could, and I took that to a fault. I should have addressed that right away, have them not talk on the phone while we are training. Make sure that this person had the proper habits, and I didn't do that. That was my mistake. I know not to make it in the future. And over the course of those 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, we teamed. I mean, this is a person that has 40,000 miles, so I'm ready to train. I'm willing to train, but there's some expectations when you're at 40,000 miles. I also expected that this person would have maybe some habits different from the ones that I have, that were instilled over those 40,000 miles, that I may not or might not necessarily be on board with, but I had to be very conscientious of discerning or separating my personal gripes and what's acceptable for a driver. Just because I don't do something, because something is not done the way that I would do it, I have to, take a minute and realize or analyze if just because I wouldn't do it, if the way the person is doing it is an acceptable way, and let them develop their own skills. So throughout those 2 days, it was a combination of, me giving pointers and waging in my head my emotions versus the objective reality, I guess, of the situation. This person was not prepared. They didn't know how to detach or attach from a trailer. Again, their Jake brake technique was not the best. They had very little experience using the app to depart, arrive, drop, pick trailers. We had talked on the phone before I met them, and they told me that they wanted to improve their backing skills. They didn't really have that much experience behind the wheel for that, so we were going to work on that. And I gotta apologize. It's probably a hodgepodge of points that I'm giving out. The thing is that it's all very close. I'm keeping it really close to the chest because it wasn't a great experience. And while all these things that this trainee, well, all these weaknesses this trainee had were pretty clear, when I went to give pointers or ask them to do something, I would get the same response. I've already done this. I already know what I'm doing. I'm trying to find a third way to say the same thing, but that's basically that was basically their attitude. I already know this. I've done it. But then, when it came to practice, they didn't know what they were doing. Long story short, we ended up at the Salt Lake City terminal. We were picking up a repower load. Someone dropped the trailer at Salt Lake. We were going to pick it up and take it to Washington. To Portland and then Washington. I picked up the trailer. It was going to be my shift. Turns out that the trailer had an issue, which I noticed when I picked it up. There was a big bulge on the trailer. And we needed to get transloaded, right? So, I've never been transloaded in my life. We were at Salt Lake waiting for the approval from dispatch to get the approval from the shipper to get the transload, or to get transloaded. So when they call me in the morning to give me the green light to drive the truck to the dock, this trainee is in the cafeteria. They're having breakfast. It's okay. At this point, the load is late. There's no rush. They can do that. I called them. I'm like, hey, listen, we just got the approval. I tell them, hey, listen, we just got the approval to get transloaded. So I'm going to wait for you to come. I would like for you to, shadow me through this whole process because I've never been through it. This will be a good opportunity for you to know how to handle yourself when you're by yourself. Their response was, no, you can go ahead and do it. I've already done that. I don't need to be there. So I replied, listen, I've never been through this. I want you to be here with me. And that was one of the few times in which I was stern with the person. And in 30 seconds, they were in the truck. Now, this is the last day that I was with this person. And we were at the Salt Lake City terminal. Like I mentioned, we were waiting to get transloaded. And after that, we were going to go, that load was going to Portland, Oregon, and then Washington State. So, I'm not terribly happy with this trainee. And I have to make a decision. Because the moment I leave the Salt Lake City terminal, if I leave with them, I'm committed. Not only to them, but to them driving in the mountains of Washington and Oregon. And every time that I try to bring up that they have to work on their Jake brake skills, all I get is, I already know what I'm doing, and no progress. Combined with a very unpleasant attitude from them. So, I'm going to play the clip that my dash cam caught. And I think that this will that clip captures how I felt about the entire situation. And I will provide you with some context after. Get there. But here's the thing, I understand that you've already done 39,000 miles. We're at 41, 42 at this point, roughly. I just hit my head. But, I need to know right now. If you just want me to run you with your miles and you want to be done with this, and that's all you want, then let me know right now and I'll stop messing with you, I'll stop bothering you, you'll drive, and that's all we'll do. If you actually want to learn, so when you're on the road by yourself, you can hold your ground, we need to start getting in a different dynamic, because I can't be asking you to do stuff that you don't want to do. You need to want to learn for yourself. Okay, so first things first, I gotta make something very clear. I would never just run the truck and not care about someone, for multiple reasons. I said what I said on that clip so I could get a straight answer from this person, which I got. They said that they basically just wanted to get their miles. But I needed to get that straight answer to know where I stand, to know if it's even worth for me to try, to keep trying. Now, I don't know what this person was expecting by doing this, to just skate by, I guess. But that's not how things work. I have a responsibility if I sign off on someone like that, saying that they're ready when they're not. You know, they go out and they flip a truck, they crash into a four-wheel vehicle or a four-wheel driver or whatever. It doesn't matter if it comes back to me or not. I don't know if it would. I have a moral responsibility to make sure that this person is prepared. I love this job too much to I don't know if it's apparent or obvious by the videos that I make. I take this job very seriously. You know, this job has its perks. I like some of the things that it provides for me. But I care deeply about it. I plan to do this, if God allows, until the day I retire or die. You know, like, I'm building my life around this job. And yes, clearly this person did not share that passion that I shared, and that's okay. That doesn't have to be expected. But we're both adults, you know. I don't need to beg you to do your job. It is your job. You know, that's what you signed up for. So when this person told me that basically they just wanted to get their miles, my empathy, my compassion went away, because I'm the one that's paying them. They're not just going to skate by while I do the job that I'm paying them to do, which has learning attached to it. So what I had in mind was, okay, so right now, starting now, I'm going to have them do everything. Not because I'm lazy, but because they need to learn. And since they're not willing to shadow me, they are going to do it, and I'm going to shadow them. So we go to get transloaded. They unload the trailer that we're attached to, they load the other trailer. I asked this person to detach and attach to the new trailer. All this pretending like I don't care about what they're doing, just waiting for them to do their thing, and then, wait, I'm gonna go verify that you're doing a good job. Because if this is going to continue, I need to be able to trust them. You already know the ending. I kicked them out. It didn't work out. I couldn't trust them. And I wish I left my phone in the truck when I went to verify how they attached, because when I went to see how they attached the glad hands, I mean, the words cannot express. Like, I could see the seals sticking out from the edges of the glad hands. They were like completely off. I don't know how to, like, there's no way to like convey it. And I hate I didn't take a picture. And of course, like I mentioned, this person was on the phone all the time. I confronted them. I told them that I needed, like, I cannot communicate with them if they're on the phone constantly. And by that time, I just wanted them out of the truck, you know? So I messaged my fleet manager. I had been in communication with my fleet manager. There was a string of emails, screenshots of text messages and interactions that I had with this person, because they were on the phone all the time. So, I mean, I had to text them, so there was some record of what I was saying. And I ended up kicking them out of my truck on the third day. Sorry, on the fourth day. I picked them up on Friday night. We set off on Saturday. They were out of my truck Tuesday morning. Tuesday at 1, 2 in the afternoon, really. And I honestly don't know what's going to happen next. I'm willing to train, I think. I'm willing to train. Definitely being with this person made me realize how much I value my personal space. Like, I know that I'm giving up some personal space. I was very welcome, and I was very accommodating in the fact that, you know, everything that I have on the truck is free to be used by anyone that's in it. The air fryer, the microwave, of course, the fridge. I don't think that should be like stated, like that's assumed, like at least for me, like that's like, I mean, the moment someone steps into my truck, you know, it's a shared living space, and we have to, you know, make that living arrangement work. So I don't know if, and I understand that, so I don't know if it was just the fact that I understood that and I was still not happy about that, or the fact that just this person's attitude ticked me off and made me regret sharing that space. But I definitely value my personal space now more than before. Like, the moment I got back on my truck, knowing that they were gone, the sense of relief was insurmountable. But I messaged my fleet manager like fairly quickly after that and mentioned that I was ready to pick up someone else whenever they saw fit. Hopefully someone that was fresh from PSD to build the correct habits. And I had a conversation over the phone with the head of training with Prime, my fleet manager, and this trainee that I removed from my truck. And the impression I got after that conference call was that maybe I am not going to get another trainee anytime soon. That's the impression that I got. Like I mentioned in the last video, I don't need to train. This was just something like I mentioned in the last video, I don't need to train. This was just an experience that I wanted to get. I wanted to have the opportunity to give someone else the good experience, the great experience that I had in training. while learning. But it's not up to me. It's up to a fleet manager, training, prime, and who they placed and who they pair up trainers with. So I have decided that I am not going to just sit and wait for them to make a decision on that. I'm just going to move on with other plans and goals that I have.